This is Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello and welcome. I'm Tansai Gabriel and you are watching Pulse of Africa News. Stay with us for more in-depth coverage of the latest events affecting our region and beyond. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed on Wednesday warmly bid farewell to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Addis Ababa Bole International Airport, marking the conclusion of a historic two-day state visit that deepened India-Ethiopia ties. The farewell ceremony featured high-level diplomatic honors and celebrated the strengthened partnership between the two nations. During the visit, Prime Minister Modi was conferred Ethiopia's highest civilian award, the Great Honor Nishan of Ethiopia, recognizing his exceptional contributions to enhancing India-Ethiopia relations. The trip included landmark discussions on agriculture, cybersecurity, mining, and digital infrastructure, along with plans for a joint project under the International Solar Alliance. Modi also addressed a joint session of the Ethiopian Parliament emphasizing shared civilization ties and the importance of collaboration on UN reforms and BRICS coordination following Ethiopia's entry into the bloc in 2024. Both leaders highlighted mutual priorities in sustainable development, technology, and regional cooperation. The visit was notable for the personal rapport between the two leaders. Prime Minister Abiy personally escorted Modi to his hotel upon arrival, including a visit to the Addis Ababa Science Museum and Friendship Park, and the two shared a traditional Ethiopian coffee ceremony at the airport, symbolizing cultural friendship. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the Ethiopian Parliament on Wednesday, highlighting the historic and strategic ties between India and Ethiopia. He began by acknowledging Ethiopia's rich civilization heritage and the resilience of its people, drawing parallels between the ancient wisdom of Ethiopia and India's own heritage. Modi noted that both nations have long histories of democracy and shared values, emphasizing the significance of people-to-people connections, education, and cultural exchange in strengthening bilateral ties. Modi underscored Ethiopia's role at the heart of African diplomacy, describing the nation as a crossroads for the continent and a key partner in advancing regional peace and security. He highlighted India and Ethiopia's shared responsibility in promoting connectivity, trade, and development across Africa and Asia, framing the two nations as natural partners in building a stable and prosperous region.
History is alive in the mountains, in the valleys, and in the hearts of the Ethiopian people. Today, Ethiopia stands tall because its roots are deep. To stand in Ethiopia is to stand where the past is honored, the present is full of purpose, and the future is welcomed with open hearts. The blend of old and new, this balance between ancient wisdom and modern ambition, this is the true strength of Ethiopia. The spirit of Medemar or synergy is very familiar to us in India.
A central theme of Modi's speech was the rise of the Global South, which he described as writing its own destiny through cooperation, innovation, and shared prosperity. He stressed that India and Ethiopia, as emerging economies, have a duty to ensure that multilateral institutions reflect contemporary realities, offering fairness and equity in global decision-making. Modi emphasized that the Global South must act in solidarity to tackle shared challenges such as climate change, food security, and health emergencies.
The Global South is writing its own destiny, and India and Ethiopia share a vision for it. Our vision is of a world where the Global South rises not against anyone, but for everyone. A world where development is fair, where technology is accessible, and where sovereignty is respected. A world where prosperity is shared and peace is defended. And a world where decision-making reflects today's reality, not the world of 1945. Because the world cannot move forward
Modi also spoke about the practical aspects of India-Ethiopia cooperation, from the Digital Ethiopia 2025 initiative to investments in healthcare, agriculture, and technology. He highlighted how bilateral partnerships are delivering tangible benefits. He commended Ethiopia's recognition of shared environmental stewardship, noting how initiatives like India's A Tree for Mother and Ethiopia's Green Legacy exemplify collaboration on climate and sustainability. The Prime Minister reaffirmed the deep historical and contemporary ties between the two nations, from ancient trade across the Indian Ocean to India's support for Ethiopia's inclusion in BRICS and the African Union's permanent membership in the G20. Modi called for unity and cooperation among nations of the Global South, invoking Ethiopian proverbs to underscore collective strength. He stressed that India and Ethiopia, as partners and members of a larger family of emerging nations, are committed to a world that is more just peaceful and inclusive. The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mohamed Ali Youssef, bid farewell to Stephanie Sullivan, U.S. Ambassador to the African Union. He commended Ambassador Sullivan for her constructive role in strengthening AU-U.S. relations. Discussions highlighted cooperation in peace, security, and development as key areas of partnership. Both sides underscored the importance of sustained engagement on multilateral collaboration and advancing shared priorities. The chairperson thanked Ambassador Sullivan for her service and reaffirmed the AU's commitment to continued cooperation with the United States. India and Ethiopia have officially elevated their long-standing relationship to a strategic partnership, deepening collaboration across economic, technological, and diplomatic domains. The announcement followed high-level talks between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in Addis Ababa. Randhir Jaswal, official spokesperson for India's Ministry of External Affairs, highlighted the historical roots of the India-Ethiopia friendship, noting centuries of people-to-people ties and shared values that have shaped cooperation between the two nations.
India and Ethiopia, as you know, have age-old ties. Our friendship, our warmth, our togetherness goes back centuries. Building on this very strong foundation of our people-to-people and historical ties, we have now a very vibrant partnership which spans across sectors: economy, diaspora, technology. And now, both leaders yesterday in their talks, they decided to elevate this partnership to a strategic one. This will give a major boost to our collaboration as Global South partners. As you know, Ethiopia is a very strong champion of Global South issues, and India is also a very strong champion of Global South. We hosted several Voice of the Global South summits in India. Our Prime Minister hosted, where leaders from large number of developing countries in the Global South participated. And through our Prime Minister's leadership, we were able to bring the concerns and issues of the Global South at the global arena, and in particular during our G20 presidency. And as you know, during our G20 presidency, we had African Union. It was an honor for us to welcome African Union as part of permanent member of the G20 grouping.
Jaiswal emphasized that both countries share common positions on key multilateral issues, including climate change, global governance reforms, and development priorities for Africa. He described Ethiopia as a crucial partner for India, particularly given its strategic role as the headquarters of the African Union.
Addis Ababa is the headquarters of African Union. In some sense, this is center where discussions around African issues takes place. We have engaging ties with African Union. Together with African Union, we are working in the multilateral issues on climate change and reforms and global governance. So Ethiopia's partnership becomes very important because several of the issues that we champion are also those which Ethiopia champions. It's natural to be so because we are Global South partners. On reform of global governance, for example, our voice are similar, and we want to see how best we can take forward the development priorities of Africa. Our aspirations are shared. Our historical trajectory has been shared. So together as partners, we want to move forward. And I think Ethiopia is a very important partner in our engagement with Africa.
Anil Kumar Rai, India's ambassador to Ethiopia, underlined the significance of Prime Minister Modi's visit, the first by an Indian Prime Minister in 15 years, as a milestone in elevating bilateral relations from friendship to a full-fledged strategic partnership. He noted that the expanded partnership will now encompass agriculture, industry, manufacturing, skills development, and emerging technologies as in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and space sciences. Ambassador Rai also highlighted India's commitment to supporting Africa-led solutions to development challenges, emphasizing the importance of collaboration that respects Africa's priorities and leadership.
The visit of a Prime Minister of India is taking place at a gap of 15 years, and this is the visit which has elevated the relationship from friendship to strategic level. And this signifies that we have to chalk out a very robust plan to cooperate and collaborate in various sectors, which extends from economy, political consultation, and also at the international level, so that the voice of the developing countries, voice of the most populous country, India, and the fastest growing continent of Africa can be strengthened. And such kind of cooperation will extend from sectors like agriculture, industries, manufacturing, skilling, defense cooperation, and also in the new and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, space sciences. So the two leaders have given us a very strong mandate to work on all these sectors and come up with outcomes in shortest possible time. So now both the countries will be working together in closed groups, and they will discuss on issues which are of mutual interest. While doing so, as a country, we want to make sure that the agendas which is set is the agenda of Africa, and there should be Africa-owned, Africa-led, and Africa-driven solution, which India should become the partner.
The new strategic partnership reinforces a shared vision to amplify the voice of the Global South, strengthen multilateral cooperation, and promote sustainable development and technological advancement. India and Ethiopia aim to translate this vision into concrete projects with continent-wide impact, advancing inclusive growth and South-South cooperation. Moving on to business news, Namibia's tax revenue from non-diamond minerals has overtaken diamond income for the first time, as a weak global diamond prices were offset by strong gold prices and higher uranium output, the Chamber of Mines of Namibia said. Diamonds have traditionally contributed about 30% of Namibia's export earnings, but prices have declined since mid-2022 due to rising demand for lab-grown gems. Diamond tax revenue fell 79% year-on-year in the 6 months to September, following a 49% drop in the previous financial year. The chamber said the marked a structural shift toward a more diversified mining sector, with non-diamond minerals now forming a more resilient revenue base. Tax revenue from minerals such as uranium and gold rose to $171 million in the past financial year, nearly double the original budget estimate. Gold mines Navakab and Otjikoto benefit from a sharp rally in bullion prices, while uranium production rose 22% year-on-year in the first 10 months of 2025. Namibia remains the world's third largest uranium producer. The African Development Bank has raised a record $11 billion for its African Development Fund, a concessional window that provides low-cost loans and grants to 37 of the continent's most vulnerable nations. Announced after a two-day conference in London, this 17 replenishment represents a 23% increase over the previous round in 2022, though it falls short of the bank's ambitious initial target of $25 billion. A defining feature of the cycle is the surge in Africa self-investment. For the first time, 23 African nations, including Kenya, Zambia, and Ivory Coast, pledged a combined $182.7 million. AfDB President Dr. Sid Olduta hailed this as a transformational shift, signaling that African states are transitioning from mere beneficiaries to active co-investors in their own development. The ADF is seeking to amend its charter to allow for market borrowing, aiming to raise an additional $5 billion in seed funding from capital markets. These funds are critical as low-income African countries grapple with high debt, climate shocks, and limited access to global capital. The $11 billion will prioritize energy access, food security, and resilient infrastructure, continuing the fund's 50-year legacy of financing essential projects like irrigation and roads that sustain millions across the continent. Now to sports. The roar of youth, inspired by Senegalese art and Olympic values, features a lion symbolizing strength, courage, and the host nation. Its mane forms two symmetrical faces representing fairness and respect, each crowned with olive leaves, recalling the ancient Olympic tradition and pursuit of excellence. Designer Pilar Babadillo Visario said the medal was created to reflect not just the moment of victory, but the journey behind it. She described winning the competition as deeply emotional. Saying she felt as if I had won one of those medals myself. The global design call, launched in September 2025, attracted entries from 103 countries, with strong participation from India, Senegal, Brazil, Mexico, and France. Barbadillo Visario will also be invited to attend the Dakar 2026 Youth Olympic Games. The Youth Olympic Games will be held from October 31st to November 13, 2026, bringing together 2,700 athletes aged up to 17 across Dakar, Damandio, and Sali. That wraps up our broadcast on POA News for this hour. Thank you for tuning in, and continue with us for more updates from Africa.